Hey, what's going on, traders? Happy Thursday. I hope you guys have all been having an amazing day, but I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know exactly how my trading went, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as you guys can see from the screen, it was a green day overall on my account, and in terms of how I did day trading wise, I did trade both SQs and TQs today. As you guys can see, I made $40 on SQs, $21 on TQs, right? So I finished up $60 on the day, right? Wasn't able to hit my 1% daily goal. And since I used $10,000, that would be a $100 daily goal, right? So I at least got over halfway there, right? $60 out of $100, a 0.6% return. Not definitely not the best, but not the worst. It's green and I'll take it. And as you guys can see, a big focus I've been having all week is I've been trying to take a lot less trades than normal, right? I'm typically used to taking hundreds of filled orders every day. And today I kept it down at only 27 orders, right? So I am very proud of myself in that aspect, that I've been definitely not rushing into trades this week and letting them play out more and letting the margin really develop before jumping in, right? But I started trading SQQQs, right? Then towards the end of the day, I started to focus on TQs, or not towards the end of the day, towards the end of my trading session, right? As you guys can see, I was done by 8 p.m. today, so I was really only trading for about an hour and a half. And so let me go ahead and break down exactly what I was seeing, right? So the Nasdaq itself, right, on the bigger time frames, we can even see that it has been pretty overextended, right? We have been starting to finally break above, this strong resistance that we were having, but it has still been getting rejected around these levels the past few days. As you guys can see, right, we started to peak out during the pre-market session, got rejected, right, bounced off the bottom VWAP, pushed back up, right, tested that same resistance and got rejected yet again. And so heading into market open, right, we found a support where we have been during the pre-market session, right? We recovered to the EMA, or to the middle VWAP, my apologies. And what ended up happening? We started to sell off and form a new low, right? And so during the sell-off, I started to focus on SQQQ, right? But I wasn't sizing in too aggressively because I wasn't sure if we were going to potentially bounce right around the same area, right? And so once it finally started to break below, I started to get back in SQQQ, but it would start to change direction, right? And then as it would start to sell off, I would get back in, but I wasn't really going too aggressive today, right? I wasn't trying to trade too aggressively because of the fact that, in my opinion, it started to get really unclear which way direction was headed, right? We did see this nice sell-off, but after that, we were kind of all over the place, right? Pushing up, pushing down, pushing up, pushing down. And so I wanted to, do my part in making sure I wasn't going to put myself in a bad spot, right, and give back all my profit. And so, I was pretty much just letting a quarter position size run around here in SQs. But once it started to pop up, I cut it for a loss, right? And I started to focus my attention on TQQQ. So as you guys can see, I actually started to get into TQQQ really around 650 and 740, right? So 650, I tried it once around here. Where was it? 650 would have been around this area, right? So I tried buying in. It ended up bouncing. I probably cut it for a quick, profit. And then I started to get back in around 740. So once it really started to sell off down here, right, I bought in. And this thing ended up bouncing really aggressively and changing direction on the day. As you guys can see, I had a line drawn here, right? And what made me think that it could potentially bounce around this area? Well, if you looked at the past, 10 days even, you would have noticed that this area has been acting as a previous resistance around these general areas, right? And even back to all the way over here on May 1st, right? And so it makes sense that if something were to act as a resistance, there's a chance in the future that it could act as a support, right? So any previous resistance could become a new support level. And so if we keep that in mind, right, we would notice that once this thing pushed on back and started to get rejected, right, where could we have potentially seen a bounce at a previous resistance level it once had that can potentially act as a new support level, right? And that's exactly what ended up happening. Doesn't mean it had to happen, right? But we just needed to be aware of that and these critical levels, and that's exactly what I saw. We ended up pulling on back to the past resistance that now acted as a support. We started to finally push back up, right? And I personally didn't average up fully on this position because of the fact that I wasn't sure if we were going to continue to sell off even more, right, before we finally bounced. I thought we were going to have a little bit more of a sell-off before we started a reverse, but given the fact that it started to reverse as aggressively as it did, I decided to cut my position there and walk away because I wasn't too clear exactly where we were going to be headed from there. But as you guys can see, this thing actually ended up recovering, right? Testing the previous resistance levels for the day. And as of lately, right, we actually did break above, and we were seeing the market push up, but it makes sense to me why we are experiencing strong resistance levels, right? We saw it all day where every single time it approached these areas, it would tend to have a very hard correction in the price, right? And so that's what I potentially see going on here. But as far as why I did end in the green so much, Tesla itself has been really, surging at market close and heading into, after market hours. And you may want to ask yourself why, right? It potentially gapped up over 3%. And it's because news came out that Elon Musk actually decided to transition away from CEO of Twitter, right? And so it says that he actually may have hired a new Twitter, and it's gonna be someone named last name Yacarino, right? And it says they were the head of advertising at NBC, and we'll see how things play out from there. But there can definitely be some more positive momentum for Tesla stock heading into tomorrow, and so that's gonna be exciting to see. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's recap. Really means a lot to have your support. But if you guys have any questions at all or want me to break down any stock for you, go ahead and drop a comment and I will be more than happy to do that. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's recap. Take care and have a good rest of your day.